Well, they've done the first part of the job that was entrusted to them after having lost the toss, been asked to bat first, wouldn't have been their preferred option. Remember, all the games that they've won, they have won chasing, and I'm talking about Kolkata. This time around, they were given a slightly harder task of setting a score on a not very palatable 22-yard strip, but they've still managed to put on 171 for 4. That purely in the context of the scores we've got in Sharjah this year, you'll have to say is a top total. Here we are on Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I might have mentioned the kind of total it is. What do the experts think? I'm joined by Bhattacharjya, Shaun Pollock. Shaun, 171, safe to say that on a good surface, this is almost a 190 type total.
Yeah, Joy can't stop smiling behind the scenes here. He's pretty happy with his, first of all, picking that he's going to get 170 was 1 run short. Maybe he just didn't account for the 1 wide. And I think on this surface, I think it's a brilliant score. I think it's more like 200 plus. Because we did see their game plan was to try and run. There's no surprise there. Brendan McCullum as coach. No surprise that up front to try and create pace, they all came running down the wicket. But it was also difficult to get it away. And I think it was a really good start from Rajasthan with regards to the run rate. But then the partnership, just being there for a period of time, tended to pay off and the guys came good. So I think they'd be really happy. Asked to bat first, 171. I think it's a brilliant total, particularly with a strong bowling lineup.
Yeah, Joy, first of all, congratulations. I must tell all of you that we have lots of sounds in our ears when we are doing this. And when Joy mentioned 170, there was a collective sigh of what? We know he sort of might have had an affiliation with them, but surely not 170. Joy, it's got there.
It's got there. No, but I think the two things that, you can look at and say that, KKR did very well. One is they were 34 in the first 6, and from there to get to a run rate of 8.5, what they have done brilliantly, and I think KKR has done better than any other team, is bat from those overs 7 to 15. Look at that rate, 10.33. Their end is not explosive. I mean, if you actually look at it, Owen Morgan and Dinesh Karthik actually slowed things down. They could have got another 10, 15, maybe 10 odd runs more. But that 10.33 is outstanding stuff. That means those runs that are being scored in the middle, nobody's getting them. And I think what will give Kolkata a great deal of satisfaction is they've been, last couple of years, they've just been investing in their young cricketers, whether it's Shubman Gill, Nitish Rana, Rahul Tripathi, and this year Venkatesh Iyer. Those are the guys who have done it for them. And those are the guys who've been doing it for them. And therefore, what's happening with them is because they're young and they're fit, they're not slacking in those mid-overs. The momentum is actually increasing in the mid-overs. And that's where KKR has looked very strong. The bulge is in the middle. Other teams are, big starts, big stops in the middle they go. They're bulging upwards in the middle. And that's great for them.
And that's what can tell the story. We saw the progression of the way the innings went. This is what the scores were at the end. A mini cameo is best what you can call the rounder and Shakib Al Hasan out, but we won't question it as long as they've got the job done. But Shaun, as Joy mentioned, 34 for no loss. Teams might sort of have come to Sharjah saying, listen, harder ball, tough pitch, let's go hard. You lose wickets, you don't get that 7 to 15.
Yeah, if we can actually get that graphic up again, I think that does tell the story. I think also helped by some dubious decisions to give Phillips an over. I don't think at that time. Now, I'm talking about the next one with the players and their strike rates. I think the key to look at that, when you look at that, is to work out that the two guys at the top of the order were probably going at a runner ball up until maybe, as Joyce says, the 6th or 7th over. Then in the middle period, they kicked on. So their strike rates actually improved. And the next 3 guys who came to the crease were all more than a runner ball. And then the back end, it was pretty close to runner ball. So you can see 12 or 5, 21 or 14, 38 or 35. The bulk of that 38 actually came later. And same with Shubman Gill, he really started to find his boundaries there. So it was an important period. It really looked like, as I said, Rajasthan had started well, but that middle period was the key. And the success of picking the boundaries, targeting the right bowlers. So when they saw the chance of Phillips, even though he picked up a wicket, that over of 17, I think, was vitally crucial in them building the momentum and going.
Yeah, I know, Joy, we were on Combox and we were talking about the fact that the first 10 overs went purely with seam, or once again, as I put it, non-spin, if you include Shivam Dubey as well. Then they went to Tewatia in the 11th. He picks up a wicket in that over, and probably that prompted Sanju Samson to go and throw the ball to Glenn Phillips. He bought a wicket, but in a sense, he allowed the batsmen to express themselves.
No, absolutely. Look at that. You have 28 in those 2 overs of spin. Basically, spin has gone for 14 and over. And there are 2 things. One is the actual runs you give yourself. It doesn't matter about the wickets, because finally those wickets didn't matter for them that much. Everyone who came in through the bat. But you're doing that. You're giving away those runs. You're changing the momentum of the game. And I think after those 11th and 12th overs, the momentum was not the same. Then Mustafizur, who had an excellent first over, comes back and gets hammered. They're not scared to go and hit their shots. So Rahul Tripathi kept swinging, kept missing. It didn't matter. When he connected for 6. Similarly, Nitish Rana went for his shots. And they were not scared to play their normal game, and they were not scared to play an attacking game, because they were told that their batsmen behind you, don't bother. If you get out, you get out. They did their jobs brilliantly. Strike rate of 220. Strike rate of 150. That's what Rahul Tripathi and this thing Nitish Rana gave for you in the middle. And that's very vital. Those 21, 14, 33 odd runs they gave was an excellent strike rate.
And from Kolkata's point of view, Shaun, this is the time you start looking at how much its side is peaking. Now, on the assumption they go through with this kind of a total, a Shubman Gill early on in this season was one of those not striking the way we know them. Tripathi was converting, so was Venkatesh Iyer, but they will be delighted with Shubman Gill with his contribution today ahead of a playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, striking at 130 on that surface is probably worth 140, 150, on a flat wicket in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. And saying that, they've also got a wealth of experience under their belt now if they do end up in the 4th position, because they go into the next 2 games happening in Sharjah, which is perfect preparation. So they'll know their game plan. The only key for them now going into the second innings will be thinking, gosh, we just don't need a Liam Livingstone to come off, to have the one innings of his RPL. And then also just to work out that, to make sure that those bowlers, we discussed the lengths that they bowled and how brilliant Nareen can be and Chakravarti, but they really do need to concentrate on hitting the right lengths, because if the spinners bowl the wrong lengths, we did see how they have the ability to go and that people can run at them and actually hit them out the ground. So that's the only danger signs. But I think with the experience they have, I'm sure they'll get it just right. And I would be very surprised. Batting wise, it's not easy to just walk in, and the Rajasthan Royals haven't been in the best of touch. So I think it could be really challenging to try and get that 170.
Also, to further up on that point, Shaun, the quality of spinners, the difference in the quality. I mean, Tewatia fine, he had a great previous season, a lot with the bat, but essentially he's a part-time or slightly better than part-time leg spinner. Glenn Phillips, definitely part-time. So KKR, Kolkata have 3 quality spinners. No,
they have 3 very much so quality spinners, and on any surface they're a handful. So they will get the assistance, and the key will be just, it's the same as seamers. When you talk about seamers who are really good over the years, it'll be guys who can control their length brilliantly and adapt to the conditions. And it'll be the same for these spinners here. The conditions will suit them, but if they get it wrong, if they give it too much air, if they get it too full, they can get cracked out the ground. But I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll be spot on. And they've got some mystery to them as well.
Yeah, 8 out of 12 is what you'd classify, Joy, as mystery spinners. We know they've gone with Varun Chakravarti early on at times. How do you see the power play going as far as Kolkata's bowling is concerned?
Yeah, I think Kolkata's greatest advantage is that they'll be forced to go for it. So even at Lockheed, so for example, if Sanju Samson and Yashasvi and all think that, later it's going to be tough to make runs, they want to score in the power play, then they're going to have to take risks. And if you take risks against a bowler like Lockie Ferguson at the pace he bowls, again, I say that Yashasvi Jaiswal is not an international batsman. Liam Livingstone may have seen more of 150 kind of pace than Yashasvi would have. You're going to take chances against top quality international bowling like that. You're going to, it's not easy to bat. So if they're taking chances against even the fast bowlers up front, they're going to find it very, very difficult. I think they're caught between a rock and a hard place. For them to win this match would be close to a miracle. I mean, the last pitch, they did pull off a miracle, but that was a pitch that suited them to a T. The ball was coming on. It was a very different surface. This one may be 20 runs less, but I think the challenge is about 20 runs more.
But Joy, let's just add one more for all our viewers out there. The rock in a hard place, if you want to say that, the rock is the fact that you've got a difficult total to chase as far as this pitch is concerned. The hard place, Shaun Pollock, is that to stay in this tournament, they have to get this in, 11 overs or something ridiculous like that.
No, I think they've given up on that. I think they just want to try and finish on a winning note. I don't think it's even in the equation. I think they just want to try and end up on 12 points and know that it was net run rate that cost them rather than the ability to win games.
Well, that might just, Joy. I mean, I know we talked about it earlier, but while we already have quality spinners, could the fact, I mean, I know Shaun says given up, but surely maybe a couple of overs, they'll at least give it a shot. At least give it a shot. 2 overs, we're 35 for no loss. I mean, come on, let's go and give it a shot. Will that work in Kolkata's favor if they come and throw their bats?
If they come and throw their bats, and what's interesting though is that if they come and throw their bats, so they try and do it in 11, and they could have got close and they, just collapsed because they were trying to do it in 11. I mean, I would advise the Rajasthan cricketers to stay away from Mumbai for a while then after that, because they just say, guys, all you needed to do was win the match for us. I mean,
but
we don't care when you get in 11.
You talk about throwing the bats, and if they are going to come and do it, they have to do it in a very constructive way. And often what happens when you say throw your bats, you go across batted shots. You try and whack it through to deep mid-wicket, and those kind of shots tend to come out. And the ones that were really good were the nice straight bat shots that's looking to hit straight down the ground because of the bounce. When it's banged in, it stays much lower than you expect. And as much as you're telling your brain, listen, it's not going to bounce enough, instinctively, when it's banged in the length, you try and deal with it as you've learned to do it for so many years.
Well, I can tell you, we were thinking it is going to be Ferguson, Mavi, and Chakravarti in the first 6 overs. They've totally changed the plan. Shakib Al Hasan, playing as a specialist bowler in this side, has been tossed the first over. First ball has been a swing and a miss. Is that going to be the way to go? That's what we feel. It might just be Yashasvi Jaiswal on strike. And quick reminder to all of you, Rajasthan are playing this game for themselves. They're also playing this game for Mumbai. If they don't get it in 11 overs and they go ahead and beat somehow, it'll have done Mumbai a massive, massive, massive favor. So lots to play for several franchises altogether. And we'll update everything, including the fact that they've lost an early wicket, swinging hard, but that was only to be expected. This is not our place to be analyzing that. We will come back on Cricbuzz Combox, talk about that early wicket of Yashasvi Jaiswal to Shakib Al Hasan, and so much more. That's the kind of little extra that you get on Cricbuzz Plus if you were to subscribe. For now, that's halfway through the second game in our weekday doubleheader. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Shaun. And we'll update you with everything on Cricbuzz Combox. How hard are they going? It should be done and dusted for Rajasthan as far as the 10th over is concerned. We'll tell you all about it on Combox. We'll see you then. This is Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle.